Welcome to Endgame Sensei, where I give two fools, absolute fools, a position to play out. Will they hurt us with their madness? Yes, they will, but I'm here to absorb the pain for you, to talk you through it. It's a therapy session. Now, before us, we have a classical position. They actually recognize this position, and it's a particular kind of chess mind that can recognize positions and like say what, who played it and yada yada. I'm not that guy. David has already pronounced on the position. He felt that white was winning. And we actually had a majority of people in our little poll say it was winning too. Kostya, what are your thoughts here?
I think white is much better. I don't think white is like mathematically winning. So I would, but yeah, really good, very good winning chances for white. You know, I'd say like +1. You know.
Okay. Now, by the way, this position is in our sparring for the dojo training program. And one of the cool things about our sparring is that it's designed so that you play against people at a similar level. And the point is, you're not trying to create some objective truth about what's going on in the world. You're just trying to beat your opponent, right? And same thing here, I will say that a big part of this is going to be Black's defensive capabilities. Okay, so this is Botvinnik-Alehkine from back in the day, and Alehkine, and Kostya's he's already on me. He's like, cry, it's Alyoshin. It's Alyoshin.
No. I think Kostya gave up on that.
He gave up on that. Anyways, it's Alyoshin. Yeah, Botvinnik against Alyoshin. Alyoshin, sometimes pronounced Alehkine, back in the day. And I think, and I'm not sure about this, and someone can maybe correct me. I had a great book when I was a kid that we have in the program called Irving Cherneff's like 60 Instructive Games, I think it was called. We have that in the program. I think this game is in there as an illustrative example of Rook on the 7th. It made a big impression on me because I didn't, you know, it's hard as a beginner to think like, oh, with the Rook, maybe it's over. Now, I'm not sure it's actually over. We're going to see what the level of resistance that the black players here can put up. Okay, so my hope is that we'll be able to play this game out, maybe talk about it a little bit, and then go over the original game. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
Now this time there was a fancy pants thing that we one time did where I moved the clocks to the left-hand side of the board or something. We're not doing that kind of dramatic stuff anymore. We're just doing it as it is here. So here we go. Kostya's playing Alyoshin. I think Americans get a cruel pleasure out of pronouncing Russian names in particular incorrect. So Alyoshin is like, that's like taking it to a whole new level. F6, great move. Great move. And now, honestly, it's not that easy because white has a bad piece here. Now, in the game, Botvinnik has to find a way to make the knight reasonable. This is not an easy business here. Rook b7, good. And by the way, I mean, it's not the dumbest thing for black to consider just giving up a pawn. By no means is that a dumb thing. So b5 is the natural move, but rook c8 definitely a move we could think about as well. Part of the dream of f6 too was to enable rook f7, but of course we can't do it now because he's tagging our knight. Okay. So I do think this exercise has really helped Kostya play some endgames. And even though the openings have gotten really funky, he did play some good endgames recently. Yeah, he's tanking on this, correct? And I should get the game ready for later too. This is Botvinnik-Alehkine, 1938, Alyoshin, 1938. And so again, sometimes we run it back if we have time, but it might be even better just to do it one time. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then, because if we do it just one time, that'll give us time to do both the go over their game, and then also to look at how the actual game went. The game. Yeah. Okay. And I like Rook B7, but right, it allows Rook C8. And it's a real interesting question now of what White should do. That we have departed from the stem game, but I don't feel like crimes have been committed by White. F6 was the move in the game, and then Botvinnik played King F1, which is a little surprising because you're allowing Rook F7, but here with Rook B7 you're allowing Rook C8, and the question is Black gonna get some kind of compensation now? Because he's got this active Rook. Yeah. By the way, one cruel thing I can do is I can call the game. That is, if they're going on in some position because Proust never agrees to a draw, then I can say, boss, you got to stop. It's got to end. Okay, so just putting it out there. If you find like I'm being a jerk by doing that, I understand. Now, the question for White is, can we keep Black locked in so that there's no counterplay? And one bummer right away is we'd like to play knight e1 just to get our knight moving. But then it allows knight c6. And there's some real questions about how we're going to make progress after that. Maybe knight e1. No, see, for example, knight e1, knight c6, knight c2, you're being overly clever because knight a5, Black will actually win the game. Right? So there's a real moment here. And I want to say Proust played Rook b7 pretty quickly, and I think he thought of it as the only move. But we might come to find that it's an interesting, maybe, difference level between Botvinnik and chumps like me and Proust. I can imagine playing Rook b7, by the way, completely, because it's almost like f6 threatens Rook f7. And yeah, now here's a very simple question for Black. Does knight c6 get you out of the box? It kind of looks like it, because it looks like we're going to be able to play for either knight a5 or knight b4, and then this big fat rook is landing on c2. So knight c6 is by all means what Kostya is thinking about here. It looks hard to meet. Now, we got to say, if White's king makes it to d2, at the very least his king is better. So on knight c6, White could do several things, but maybe the simplest, it's not simple though. So let's imagine knight c6. It's very concrete now. So king d2, then knight a5, and then after White, I'm worried about knight c4. So let's try to find something simpler for Mr. Proust than king c2. King d3, I'm worried about knight c6, intending knight b4. Now, maybe rook, well, I don't like rook b6 much either, because knight c6, snip, knight b4, and I'm landing. You know, now maybe you'll even win a pawn as White there, but your knight is still terrible, and if I get my rook on the 7th as Black, I'm going to have good play. And in general, right, as White, I need more. If we go to a rook endgame, I'm going to need more than just a pawn to be winning this bad boy. All right, knight c6. One of the nice things about Black making knight c6 is, dude, you got to play knight c6, right? Now, he's going for the pawn grubber here, and I'm a little upset at knight e7 being so fast, because he had other moves. g5, for example, was a move. But okay, Kostya has a simple thought, and that is, I'm threatening rook c2. White, I mean, honestly, maybe White's already Lost the thread. And if you play like king d2, then rook c6 should be fine. The knight on f3 is terrible. Interesting business. One of the cool things also about doing this Endgame Sensei is, I just briefly go back here. The move king f1, allowing rook f7, in hindsight, it really shows like the level of skill difference of somebody like Botvinnik, right? Because rook b7, you know, going for the pawns is the first instinct of anybody, would be for me too, right? And it's not only just going for the pawns, but it feels like, oh, I'm preventing this rook f7 thing, right? Okay, so here we are, knight e7. Mr. Proust is going to have to do some magic now. Sombrero was saying king d3 here, then rook c6, and it's going to be hard to make some progress after rook c6. Mostly because the knight is poor. The white is still a fraction better here, but I think it's going to be hard to make progress. You know, when we first began the dojo, Mitch and Vishnu would always get really jumpy. Get real jumpy. Whenever I talked about a pawn dominating a knight, they would be like, oh, here he goes again. Here he goes again. But you could see it here. This white knight, you know, it's hard. And white needs more than just a fancy rook to crack the black defenses. Okay, so we're anticipating rook c6 now. And then if I was white, I'd play rook b7. But after rook b7, black can consider the solid king f7 or the fanciful knight f5. Both of them look hard to meet for white. So I think rook c6 feels pretty reasonable here. Yeah, Vishnu has lost his mind, everybody. Vishnu is one of the people that got so caught up, so caught up in like the Hans Niemann thing and being tribal about it that he's not getting anything done in his actual life. That's what Twitter's for, I guess, to distract you from that stuff. Vishnu's completely gone. Now, I do not understand why Coach is thinking about rook c6, man. I don't know. I mean, it seems like maybe he's wondering if, I don't know what he's wondering about. Seems like this is precious time lost here for black. If he, I mean, what is he thinking about if it's not rook c6? Okay, there it comes. So that was 1 minute 20 seconds. I think he should have done it quicker. I mean, that was your point of 97, boss. You were the one who played 97 quickly, and here you have an actual choice. Because knight f5, it pins the knight on f3. It introduces ideas of knight d6 to c4 and e4. But your king won't be able to come out. So that's why king f7 is also a fully reasonable move. Just play king f7, then play king e6. So knight f5 is very much the more complicated move. If we imagine it, yeah. So, okay, so here's the question of knight f5. How potent of a future does that knight have? If we imagine knight f5, king d3, okay, but it's king f8. I'm not a fan of that move. So Kostya's playing 90, or David's playing 91. Hey, Kostya, didn't your mama say bring him out, dog? Didn't she say bring him? What are you doing with king f8, boss? Now, maybe he's got some fanciful notion here, but I do not comprende king f8. Yeah, well, why didn't you just play knight f5 immediately, boss? Oh, man. Officially, I'm the sensei. We've been doing this a while, though. Now, Kostya's really, he's blown it here, man. I don't know with this King F8 thing. We're gonna say that was a mouse slip. We're gonna say I was a mouse slip. We're gonna give him that out. You know? I mean, they've hurt me a lot over here, over the years of this Endgame Sensei. The terrible moves that they have done. You know? They've hurt me a lot. Kostya, do you know that my soul has scars from the moves that you've made me witness? Do you ever think about that, buddy? Did you ever think about the pain that you've caused me, my friend, in the moves that you make? Have you ever had some consideration for the fact that others have to look upon moves like King F8? Think about it, son. It's no laughing matter. It's no laughing matter. All right, here it comes. So King F8, no one understands why it was necessary. Then this happened, and then 96. So let's say the obvious. The whole question of knight f5, 96 was going to, from the beginning, was like, well, does dude have enough juice? And the bad news for black is that his king is cut. But there's a simple problem for white now, which is the move you'd like to do is something like either rook d7 or rook a7. But when you do said thing, what are you going to do on knight c4? I think you just park it, right? So, nota bene, you can't play f3 and park it because this happens. And if you play rook d7, knight e4, and you park it, and then he goes here, it's a little bit unpleasant for a peasant. So, even though I despise King f8, I still think black has done himself a favor. By the way, now let's go back to the very start. A lot of people, there are two reasons people think this is winning for white. One, maybe they've seen a game and it's a beautiful game that Botvinnik played. And then that leads you to think, okay, maybe the thing's winning. Number two, it's just like, oh, that knight Nb8 so terrible, yada, yada. But then the second f6 is played, you got to slow it down a little bit. You got to be like, God, I'm not going to be necessarily winning unless I fix my knight, right? So rook b7, perhaps an inaccuracy. Sorry about all the arrows. I wasn't sure about rook b6. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't believe in rook b6. And here there probably was other moves than knight e7, but I think knight e7 is fine. And here I thought it was either king f7 or knight f5, but maybe king f8 is just fine. I don't know. Now, here we go. Knight f5 with tempo. Check the miserable king. And now we gotta say that it feels like an accomplishment. Well, it's definitely an accomplishment. In fact, if knight c4 check, there's no reason to think that somebody's winning this thing. I mean, after knight c4 check, I mean, black can play for a win just as much as white. I think, right? What are you doing? So Kostya's seeing if he can do more fancy things with knight e4 or something. But knight c4, get rid of those knights, boss. Let's make a, let's get the, yeah, no problem. We got a comment. I think they deserve some hard training after so much argumentation. I was a little rough on Kostya Coast, man. I mean, that guy's a millennial. You gotta take it easy on him. Okay, so that's just note to self, cry. You're dealing with a millennial, dog. You know, take it easy. Knight c4, good move, Kostya Coast. See, I can be nice. I'm not always like this. So here it comes. Knight c4. Now, black has a choice. Intuitively, I like rook c4. That's what Kostya does. I'm assuming that dc was also playable. Now we're expecting king g6. And then we're expecting king d3. And then you know what I'm going to tell him? I'm going to tell him offer a draw. I'm going to just tell him. Offer a draw. Yeah, come on. They're not going to do it, though. David is... they did it. They did it, man. They did it. How about that? Thank you, my friends. Now, you know what? David did this little
Good
thing.
job, Kostya.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, I thank you for stopping it early. It gives us more flexibility to maybe play another game and maybe take a look at the original, too. So they have hopefully disengaged. And then kind of the interesting question will be, will Kostya play Botvinnik's move King F1? It's a deep move because it allows black to mess with your 7th rank defense. Now let me just show Botvinnik's idea. King F1, Rook F7, check to the miserable king. That forces the rook back. And then you bring your rook back, and what he's saying is, boss, if you move your knight, then I'm going to come back. Okay? Then I'm going to come back, you dirty dog. Oh, hello, Kostya plays it. Now, interestingly, they knew the game. They knew the game, so that was cool. So let me just reiterate. If you're in the dojo training program, we have these positions to spar out, okay? And this one is for the 1800s to 1900 group. And, you have to win as white 3 times in a row against a player within 200 points of yourself. Not easy. Not easy, my friend. Maybe I should mellow that out. Maybe it should be less than that, man. That's pretty intense, 3 times in a row. Cry. Did you think it was easily winning too, you jerk? So King F1 is the deep move. Now, I want to say, I once compiled I did a video on it once of what I thought the elements of chess skill were. And one of the elements is by all means memory. We can talk about opening variations, but it's really impressive to me that there's positions that people can call up, not only the positions, but then this is Botvinnik-Alehkine. How useful it is, we can debate it. By the way, if you want to watch a video of Carlsen or being shown a position, Levon Aroni, and there's other people, Carlsen, you show him these wild positions, and he's like, oh yeah, that's Joe Schmo from 1992, And it's my mind is not even close. It doesn't matter how much I would study or whatever, try to memorize something. No, it would never happen. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just telling you this. That's not what's going to happen with my mind. In any case, would Kostya then, in addition to remembering this position, remember the move, King F1? All right, Rook F7. So now Rook C8, it's for sure the best move. Because, again, you make the rook go back, and then when you pull back, if, let's say, Knight D7 after that, I think that's a mistake. I want to go ahead and say I know that's a mistake. Now, what should black play? One move that's clever is Rook B7, because that allows for King F7 and then for the king to come out. And I have a feeling maybe Kostya missed that. Now, would Knight D7 also work? Maybe. I like Rook B7 a lot better, though, because King F7 is just a cool move that I want to do, and he does it. So actually, I just want to stress, I have gone over this game, Botvinnik-Alehkine, a couple times, but what's cool about seeing this, and I make fun of these guys all the time, but I understand, I'm seeing the level of skill difference with Botvinnik and these chumps. And I want to stress, a lot of times they make moves that are so bad that I'm just dying, but these moves that they've made with white losing control both times, very human moves. And already I think white's blown the majority of his advantage. H4 is telling us this is a frisky bisky. That's a frisky bisky, boss. That's not going to do it. That's not it, buddy. Fighting for the G5 square. No, boss. No, boss. So, all right. D. Proust could easily play king f7 here. Maybe what we'll do, too, is ask him what they felt the right move was. Right approach. Not a fan, D. Bruce. Not a fan. No. Bring your king in, boss. Who are you afraid of h5, dog? What are you doing? What are you doing, boss? Oh, man, these guys, they kill me, man. They kill me. Now, can someone please put their king on f7? Yeah, I think black has zero problems now. Just king f7, put in the middle, go to sleep. Here's a great comment from P. Mork. Carlson got shown a game and realized it was from the first Harry Potter film. I saw the video. It's incredible. It's incredible. He's showing all kinds of positions. Okay, so this bad h5 move by black is hurting us now because now we have to worry about knight f4 takes h5. And knight f4 is a big accomplishment not only because it talks to d5, but because now all of a sudden king e6 is made unpleasant. So h5, I don't know. And, I talked to him. I'm like, the thing about time, we're talking about time in our podcast, about people who don't appreciate time. h4 didn't appreciate the knight needing to come in. And h5 was like, oh, boss, bring your king in. They hurt me in the most elementary ways. Now, this is getting frisky, and I get where this is coming from. The big issue, though, is that knight e5 is going to happen after hgfg, and then we have to say that white is doing great. Is he winning? I don't know. But he's got a lot of juice after knight e5. A lot of juice. Yeah, it's very unpleasant actually. hgfg, knight e5, maybe king e6. He's not, I was about to say he's not lost, but he might actually be in big trouble. The good news is for black is that maybe he can shed a pawn at some point and, make it out alive. Maybe it's not so bad as hgf. I mean, I think g5 you're kind of forced to do it anyway. So whatever the evaluation is, you kind of had to go for it. So we're expecting hgfg, knight e5, knight b4. That's a little frisky, Mr. Kostya. Now I'm just going to tell you guys, I don't understand that, man. I no comprende that move. No, maybe it's starting to comprende. There might be some comprende here. So it's a fancy move. I guess if king e6, Kostya wants rook e3, king d6, rook e5. Maybe. Feels a little artificial. Maybe you could do it. Maybe this is genius level. Not sure. One obvious, so now if rook d7, you could play rook c8. And then if a5, we take on b8, takes b4, takes b6 is winning. Okay, big moment for Mr. Bruce. Mr. Bruce has got to be feeling the regret of 4h5. Got to be feeling the deep regret. That's not so easy. Yeah, h5 was really a bummer of a move, man. Kostya Kos might get a first here. Guy might go 2-0. 2-0. It's never happened for Kostya Kos. All right, here we go. Pawn sack makes a lot of sense. As I said before, just losing just a pawn isn't enough to win this bad boy of an endgame. So we're anticipating knight d5, and then black has a choice between rook d7 and just bring out your knight with something lame like knight a6. I didn't see anything better than a5. Okay, maybe there was, but it was not an easy thing to do, to call. And so we're going to get a mess, I think, now with knight d5, rook d7. And now, one question is, does Kostya Kos have fancy pants with rook c8? Now, in addition to the pure rook endgame with rook c8, rook d5, rook b8, black could also play knight a6. And of course, the other obvious thing is knight takes b6, rook takes d4. And intuitively, it seems like black has enough there, enough activity to hold it. So, and is there any kind of fancy rook f3 check? I don't see it, because rook f3, king e6. Could you play rook c7? I don't believe in that move. Because rook c7, king e6, rook takes, knight takes. That's pawn up, pawn up, pawn up. One thing I want to stress too, these guys are surely thinking about it, is black has vague dreams of a outside pass pawn with h4, g4, h3. Right. Well, we're going to see about this knight b6 thing. It doesn't seem right to me what white did. If I was going to do it, I like, but now maybe this is crushing. We'll see. First question is, what about rook b4? Next question would be, what about rook d2? Okay. So this is Kostya's hope with knight b6, maybe. He's going to need a good move after rook b4. I'm not entirely certain what said move is going to be. No, rook b4, it's a question mark. Am I counting a black draw as a win here? Essentially, yes. Yes, it is. I think we should do our requirements here, too. I think it's too intense to call it, to say you need to win 3 in a row. We're just going to go ahead and state the obvious here. Hello, Kostya has lost control of the position. Dude has lost control of the position. Yep. Showing how hard this thing is. Not an easy endgame. Yeah. One of the things, of course, is when you play out these endgames in the dojo, we always are trying to create a database, basically, of YouTube videos where I force these two chumps to play out this position. So many of the positions that are in the training program we have covered here. And it's not always the most enlightening experience, I'll tell you that. Look at these guys' games. But still, it might be at least entertaining. And you can see, like, I think actually, to me, the difference in skill level between Botvinnik's first couple moves and then these guys is really interesting. We've seen that in other times too. And this one was really like a nice, just two moves that Botvinnik plays that are much stronger than what these guys did. Yeah. Ambulance number 2. Charlie Silva, man, you need to get paid more. I don't know what you're getting paid for, but with your ears, those are golden, man. Your ears can hear it all. Yeah. I don't know what Coast to Coast is supposed to do here. Rook c6. Okay. The nice thing about that move is at least it keeps the game going. And now Black can consider h4. He can consider a4. Now Rook b6 is a good move. I like that move. At the very least, yeah, like I said, it keeps the game going. So maybe a way to frame this is to say, now we play a3, and then my rook on c6 won't be tied down to the knight anymore. Still a hard position, but if you imagine like a3, rook b7, maybe I can get away with either a rook swing, either rook a6 or rook g6. Yeah, good. I like the way Kostya's giving him a little bit of grief here. I don't see anything, I don't see any great spots for the rook. Maybe rook, let's say rook b5 is probably the best spot for that rook. Okay, good. And now, as I said, white can swing his rook. Black, it's weird. I guess if it were white's move, I mean, you could also play king e2. Just play king e2 and tell yourself that then, yeah, you're bringing a king. King e2, boss, bring your king in. Now, wait a second. Does he have, no, he doesn't have to worry about knight b8. Now, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that one because, well, maybe. Okay, let's give it a chance. On rook c5, let's say black plays rook c5, maybe white could play b3. And the good news for white is if black plays something like knight e5, we could play rook takes a5. This game, actually, I'm remembering, is also annotated in Botvinnik's 100 Games, somewhere on my bookshelf. And so that's also in the, well, it's kind of sort of in the program. I think it's listed as an optional book. We fought bitterly over which books got to get in. And obviously we had to leave a lot of classics out. But that's in there. And when I say that, I mean this game is in there, annotated by Botvinnik. And the 100 selected games, those are like the games that he played before he became world champion. And I like to tell that story just because Test of Time by Kasparov, an even better book, is kind of modeled on that, in that it's the games that he played before he became world champion. So this is a real tough nut for black, because Rook c5 b3, I don't know what we're supposed to do. And if we lose that pawn and he's got connected passers, it doesn't bode well. No, does not bode well. And the rook coming to a5 is just a bummer anyway. It's just raging all my pawns over there. So this might be gone, dude. This might be gone. Right, okay. So now, as I said, I thought b3 was a move, and I didn't know what it was supposed to do after, black was supposed to do after b3. Kostya's taking his time, I like it. Well done. This might be resigns time, dude. He won't actually resign, but you gotta have some idea here, or else it's just completely hopeless. That's surprisingly miserable. Happened really fast too. Rook c6. Kostya thought on that 20 minutes. That might have been his best move. Now maybe we got to laugh at Jesse a little bit here. I didn't really properly consider Rook b5, but Rook a5. Let's think about it. Rook a5, Rook b3, Rook g5. We're still going to be down a bunch of pawns, but it's not quite over, is it? Because Rook a5, I think it's over. Rook a5, Rook b3, Rook g5. What do you want to do, boss? Right? You're going to lose, or at least it would surprise us if you didn't lose the h-pawn somehow, too. But let's give him props that Rook b5 was the last chance at the OK Corral kind of thing. Rook c3 played very quickly. And knight e3 is el natural move here. But he could play knight d2 too. Let's say that knight d2 has the advantage that if h4 we have knight f3. Okay, he plays the natural, knight e3, fine. Now if knight f6, it's all over with knight d5. We're threatening knight d5 anyway. So h4, knight d5 is the end of the game, unfortunately. And we're going to say rook takes a3, rook takes h5. Charlie Silva's counting ambulances. I live in the heart of the medical industrial complex. So, that's what they're doing. This is grim tidings over here. Real bummer for black that you can't do knight f6. Knight d5 is a threat, so there's no h4. Yeah, maybe a best practical chance. And knight d5, I'm going to go ahead and say that's the clean way. There might be some practical hope in this, but it ain't a lot. But it ain't a lot, my friends. So we're anticipating h4, and then a4 from white has got to be a good move. You might even have, I'm sure it's not might, you could also play rook h5 or rook d4. You know what's hilarious about rook d4? On rook d4, black could play h3, GH, Rook A3, and then try to say that the F and H pawns are a draw. In which case, we would truly be here forever, my friends. We'd be here forever then, my friends. That's a rare F and H pawn ending that has yet to make it into the Rook endgame progression, by the way. There's some positions that are transposed from the F and H, but not a pure F and H. Yeah. There's so many videos I got to do, but that would be a vid talking about the F and H. Now, I'm not sure I'm 100% sold on Rook H5, but maybe there's just a really simple idea of playing King G1, H2, H3. Take the bad boy. Take the bad boy. Well, the problem is, of course, Black's king will approach as well. So, okay, introducing the idea of Rook B4. Okay, fair. Now, what about Rook C1, King E2, Rook C2, check to the miserable king? What happens then, my friends? King F3, Rook C3, King G4. That's too much, huh? Now, maybe you could go Rook C2, King F3, H3, exclam, GH, Rook C3, and then you take the pawn on H4 with a draw in endgame. Amazing. All right. Does Black have a draw after Rook C2 check? Oh, that would be cold. So the idea, my friends, first of all, just the big idea is F and H pawns are one of the cruel draws that happen in chess. F and H obviously could be also A and C in a Rook endgame. And as long as the Black king is kind of moderately close to the pawns, as it is here, it's a draw. Now, so what are we talking about? Let's look at this. Where's my mouse go? Boomer GM has lost his mouse. Rook C2. We need to defend this pawn. So, and we also need to come out to hit this guy. So we go King F3, and then H3. Bam. Now, okay. I don't think Kostya or Proust saw the idea. Now, maybe he's making a claim that this is also winning. I mean, also drawing. Maybe. It is still, at least. So I guess here's the thing. The other position was like technically known. And this one's complicated. So, I think the big question would be like, what if Black sits with a move like King H6? Oh, I don't like that move. I don't like that move. That what are you doing? What are you doing? You let him come up? Oh, man. So now King H4 takes on F2, winning game. He wants to play with the F pawn. Even better. Even better. Thank you very much. They should resign. These chumps. So many missed chances. So many missed chances, these chumps. Nah, that's it, boss. That's it. Should I write in Discord? Should I just say like, hey, can someone resign? Zoom, my friends. Zoom. MD Knight and Sombrero. These guys are chumps. Chumps! Okay, so at least creating some technical difficulties. Let's just say Rook B5 would be L standard here. Might have something better. You can calculate rook a8. Might win too. Rook a8's more fancy. Yeah. Nice. Winning. Winning, boss. These positions, though, I gotta say, sometimes they look simple, but sometimes there can be tricky things happening. I don't know what tricky thing it is that's gonna happen here. I'm just telling you from experience, sometimes tricky things can happen. But rook b5 seems to me very difficult to meet. You might even be able to play rook g5. I don't know. Sure, why not? But that's just being fancy because the rook can't stay forever on the g file. And if we want, we can play a5 and then rook g5. You know, we don't have to be so fancy about it. Yeah, it's a hard life here, my friends. It is a hard life. Those G and H pawns, dude. I could do I have so many videos I got to do. Oh, by the way, check out my video. Check out my vid. I wonder, we used to have this thing here. We could type in vid, exclam. I wonder if that still works. Vid, exclam. Bang. Nope, doesn't work anymore. Huh? Oh, you got to go exclam vid. Come on, Boomer GM. Bang. Doesn't work. DM Hokey, how come the vid command doesn't work anymore, buddy? This is DM Hokey's fault. Everybody should start doing the rook endgame progression empty knight. Come on, buddy. No, does rook g5 win on the spot? That would at least let us go home early. If rook g5 just won, bang. Come on, let it do it, buddy. Do it. He's not in the box. Run, Forrest, run. Rook g5. Snip, snap. Run, Forrest, run. Oh, Kostya, if you drag this out, there we go. Time to resign. Okay. Here we go.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Good games, Kostya.
Good games, good games. I have to run to use the bathroom real quick, but I'll be back.
Okay. Mr. Bruce.
Yes.
I'll
Jesse.
show you. Do you have it? I'll tell you what. Before I show you the game, just the very first moves. Obviously, you know, mistakes made on both sides, yada yada. But in the very first moves, do you have an intuition about what you guys did wrong?
More. I mean, I have a theory of what I did wrong, but when you phrase it that way, then I'm not sure if you're saying Kostya did something wrong too. I mean, my sense was that I stuck to the quote-unquote active rook on the 7th rank where I should have stuck to the C file like Kostya did. And just backed up the rook. During the short time that we were that you showed us the position before we started playing, I was thinking a bit more from black's position, like what on earth am I going to do for black? Which I think is an okay approach for white too, because then you can try to prevent it.
Yeah.
And I came up with like, oh, we've got to play f6, probably to keep this knight on f3 from getting good quickly. But I also kind of thought it carried this threat of rook f7, rook f8, rook f7, evicting the rook. So because I came up with that idea for white, I was like, oh, shoot, I have to avoid it. So I have to go, you know, rook b7, rook b6, whatever. But then by the time we played the second game, I thought, well, if the rook just backs up, it's still pretty awkward for black.
Can I just say something here? Oh, dude, I had this headset that makes my ears sweat. Then I lost the chord. I went and got the chord. Kostya was saying there's a reverb, and it didn't work, and then it's DM Hokey's fault, and now people are saying the reverb's back. Can you imagine this? And then I'm going to listen to the video, and I'm going to be like, this sounds fine. And Charlie Silva's out there. No, it's not. You know, come on, give me a break, my friends. Coast to Coast, question for you, buddy. Did you have a sense of what you guys did wrong just in the first couple moves?
So yeah, like David mentioned, I think a key point is that white can just pull the rook back, and it's still very unpleasant for black, because the knight can develop to d7, but doesn't really go anywhere from there. So white is still much more flexible.
Okay, let me invite
I
you
mean,
guys.
in my game, I felt like my technique definitely could have been cleaner.
Let me invite you guys to the board.
Also in the first game, I mean, when we called it off, I don't know, thought I was in trouble there. I didn't really like my position, to be honest. Maybe we can look at it.
Okay, so here we go. This is our position. And I think, I was telling chat, you know, I feel like what we're about to see is a good example of the difference in skill level between, and I know I make fun of you guys a lot, but I can very easily see myself making the same things you did, and then you look at Botvinnik's move and you're like, oh, that was so much better, dude. Okay, so here we go. F6, King F1, we wait. We let him play Rook F7. And not Rook C3 now. First to check. Very important. Very important. Because now there's no easy knight D7, because then you get whacked with Rook C7. The rook comes back.
But I didn't quite get the difference though,
because you played Rook C3 immediately, and that allowed Rook B7.
Yeah, Kostya and I just don't really see where the knight's going to from D7.
Oh, you're saying Rook B7?
No. So the point is, in this game, Botvinnik goes Rook C8 instead of Rook C3, exclamation. Then he brings it back, and now the knight on D. Now, if the knight moves, we have Rook C7. And there's no easy way. There's no king F7. We whack him again. So now he's in a really hard spot, much harder than the one you guys had.
Okay. There's no more Rook B7.
There's no more Rook B7. There's no easy way. There's no easy way to get the king in. Right. Yeah, anyways, let's blaze through. I don't want to spend too much, but you guys have all seen this before. I do think that's a great example of, like, everyone, you guys have gone over this game too, I'm sure, more than once, and it makes it seem easy, right? But when you see, like, both of you guys got it wrong there, it's like, oh, it's the small details, but big difference in the evaluation.
Yeah, fair enough.
So here we go. Boom.
I still don't understand.
Okay, look. So you, first of all, we have a couple.
I know. Yeah, I know what I did versus, or I mean, I know what Kostya did versus what Botvinnik did. I don't understand why it's bad to let.
Because Rook B7, black's close to, let's see, King F1, Rook F7, Rook C3, Rook B7, black's close to equality.
So that's what I played, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. Kostya should have played check first.
But I thought Kostya was still killing me after Rook B7.
No, you then did some funky stuff later, dude.
Ah, shoot.
Now, was he still marginally better? Yes. We can look at it if you want.
Okay. But so after Rook B7, black's healed some of their damage. That's why it matters.
Right. Healed a lot. Then the king's coming out. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff happening.
Okay.
Actually, well, let's see. I'm sure we could remember it just by heart. So
yeah,
it went Rook F7, Rook C3, Rook B7, and I think this is where you played the wild H4.
Yeah.
And Kostya, buddy, what are you doing? First of all, H4 doesn't do anything. What are you playing H5 for, boss? Bring your king in. Bring your king in. Oh, God. Oh,
yeah,
God.
I agree. I thought King F7 was better. And then I was going to maybe go H5.
You mean you were going to play H5 for white?
White's trying to play like H5 and maybe knight H4 to F5.
It's not enough. It's not enough. I can play King E6 if I want, you know?
Then Rook goes to E3.
G4 and knight F5.
I'm getting out. My dogs are getting out.
Really?
Anyways, after H5,
Okay.
Then all of a sudden,
That-
White's knight will have a free tempo over here, like happens in the game. And
Right.
then now I felt like White was maybe better.
So this was maybe the key mistake was h5. But I really, Jesse, like I'm telling you, I was terrified of this h5 and knight h4.
Think
Maybe
about it.
G6 here for black, I was thinking.
Yeah, just think about it, even if it's White's move here, knight h4 isn't that scary because you could play g6 after he plays knight h4 too. He's not doing anything to you.
Well, I mean, he's establishing his knight on a good square.
He is? What is the knight doing on h4? Nobody knows.
Oh no, the good square is f5.
Rook G3.
But rook g3, you allow counterplay with knight c6?
Oh.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh.
Okay.
But I wasn't going to go knight h4 necessarily. I might just leave the pawn on h5.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought king f7 is the way to go. No, I mean I wasn't sure what else to do. I'm just trying to provoke a second weakness, you know.
And
What-
you did.
So yeah, let's look at. I'll try to remember. You guys help me if I get it wrong. It went knight e1, and then I believe king f7 happened, and then I believe knight e3 happened, and now there's an interesting questions obviously about knight f4. One interesting thing for black would have been to sack the pawn with king e6, with the intention that if I get my knight out, I'll have enough play.
Yeah.
That looks like
Totally missed this as well.
that looks reasonable to me. So instead,
No, but I still think White's doing really well here. Like, you
at
know,
the end there or here,
Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can play rook
Maybe,
g3, knight
rook
g7,
G3.
h5. I guess.
all I know is black's king is active and now the knight's active and I'm only down a pawn.
Yeah. No, I just mean
That's I'm with you. I understand what you're saying.
I think it is better compared to.
I think you should play rook g7 instead of knight g7, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but all right, let's go back for a second here. And because there was a couple things I wanted to maybe show about your guys' game, and then we could look at g5, interesting. And then we could look at the Botvinnik game. So knight b4. I thought this was interesting. I thought then this was interesting. And there's a lot of, this is a very hot position, right? Let's just see, rook c7 was interesting. Let's look at this. I thought this was really close. And for a second, I thought White had totally blown it, but that was a good move. I like rook c6 a lot.
Oh yeah.
And then here's kind of a critical position. And black played king e7, which maybe is the best move, but if that's it, then we truly are in trouble, right?
Yeah, because he just played rook a6 to a5 in a moment here.
Yeah, I thought a4 maybe was the only move. And then I would go a3, rook b3, something like that.
So okay,
And then-
fair question, but what happens? Okay, yeah, let's ask. So here,
So
You wanna
again,
go-
rook a6 after rook b3.
Yeah. And then I thought maybe you have knight c5,
Rook
but
a5.
I don't know if it. I mean, yeah, okay, 5. Still feels like White can maybe just
It
take on
looks
g5.
bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad. Well, here I guess one thing I want to cover because there was interesting moments here. So, king e7, a3, right? Here, rook b5, rook a5, rook b3, rook here. Tell me if I ever get it wrong.
This is all correct.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe it was rook c3, rook b5, rook a5, rook b3, rook here. Tell me if I ever get it wrong. This is all correct. And then I believe it was rook c3, rook b5, rook a5, rook b3, rook here. Tell me if I ever get it wrong. And then I believe it was rook c3, And I believe it was knight f6. And then I believe it was knight d5.
Yeah.
Okay, here's where it got interesting for me. So it looks lost, but there's some interesting chances that I think you guys missed. So h4 happened, right? And now it was rook h5.
Yeah.
So one of the key variations, ideas that I think, I'm not, later you can do the same thing, is on rook d4, there's h3
Yep.
with the f and h. But I don't know, either I'm missing something or you guys missed the chance later. So this happened. This happened.
And then rook b5.
Rook b5, right? And now it went check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. And now rook a2. But here h3, right?
No. Somewhere black played king f6, I think. But it could be wrong.
In a half a sec, because this is where
I played king f6 here instead of h3, huh?
yeah.
But
Wow.
h3 g3 with rook h5 coming.
My bad. Jeez. I thought like any move wins here. Oh no. Yeah, maybe I'm in time.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't certain. It was kind of hard for me to evaluate this.
Yeah, I was just trying to look for that.
So maybe,
Okay, but later you have the same shot, I think. So watch. So
Yeah?
it goes king
Okay.
e2, and then you did check, and then king f6,
Yeah.
and then white has to really be careful here. So I believe something like rook a5 happened.
yeah, I think so.
So now, it's real tricky. And then rook a2 happened, right?
Yeah, and then a4.
a4, yeah.
And now I think rook a3 happened. And I
Rook a3, yeah.
I was thinking, boss, what about king g6? Yeah, king g6. Anyways, I couldn't figure this. This seemed hard for white to make progress here.
Instead of, I pushed things along with the check, right? Rook a3, rook a2.
Yeah, rook a3, king g4, rook a2, and I think f4 was a good move. King h4,
Yeah,
I think is also winning, but f4 is better, I think.
f4, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but now I'm seeing I could have played rook f5, check rook f4.
Yeah, I saw that too.
But I think f4 is winning. You know,
Yeah.
that's fine what you did. Okay, should we look at the game real quick? And then we got to wrap this up. This is the longest sensei ever.
Can we also take a look at the first game real quick? Just
Oh
'cause
my God.
I mean I thought I was worse at the end. I don't know if you guys agree or
I didn't think so. But here we go. It was, rook, instead of king f1, so we had rook b7.
Yeah.
Good. King f1. I believe then b5. And you guys are going to have to help me out here. So
King e2.
King e2, right?
Knight c6. Rook b6, knight e7. King d2.
Good. Yeah. Now, Kostya, I have to say, King f8, you nearly gave me a heart attack, dude. You know?
yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about this one.
You knew I was yelling at you from the sidelines. Why'd you do it?
You mean over king f7 or
Well,
over
you
what?
could have two. I thought you had two choices. I mean, maybe, honestly, maybe you're fine here too, because white's really, let's just say the obvious, white's knight is screwed. So that's why you have a chance of surviving. But I thought it was either knight f5 or king f7.
Right. Yeah, those are my other two options. So I thought knight f5. I didn't like rook d7.
Well, I mean, you got a lot of moves. You get knight d6.
Okay, but then what do I do about my king?
What is he going to do about his king
He'll go.
and his knight? You've got a rook and a knight, and he's just got a rook.
Maybe king d3?
Maybe, but knight e4 looks, I don't know how he's going to win that position.
I don't know. I was worried about white having a more active king when.
But you got the more active knight. Also, knight c4 might also be good, but knight e4, I don't know what he's supposed to do.
Okay, well, no, I'm just saying this is what I wasn't sure about.
Anyways, king f8, Kostya. You could tell, just hear my screams. hear my screams. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, but
Imagine
no,
that.
I mean, no, I thought on this moment because I wasn't sure, but I just thought king f7. Like, I don't know where I'm going because if
You're
king
going to go
e6.
king e6, yeah.
Okay,
I thought you played great, Kostya. I thought king f8 was clever.
And like I said, maybe like white is like his knight is so bad that even king f8 will hold the day, but it just made me cry. That's all I want to say about it. So
no,
king
no,
F8.
I appreciate you bringing it up because I wasn't sure, honestly.
So I think knight e1 happens,
Yeah. I think
and then knight f5 happens,
Mhm.
and then knight c2 happens.
Yeah, knight c2,
Knight d6.
Yeah.
check,
All right.
e3. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I play knight
So it
c4.
check.
I thought maybe king e6 if the rook endgame is unpleasant.
All right. So let's see. You were worried about this rook endgame. Let's see.
Yeah, because I thought white's getting the d pawn soon.
All right. So
Like king d3, let's say. I was going to go rook c1 because
Yeah,
I
you
don't
have
know.
to. You have to go active. And
Let's
then
say rook d7.
I mean, I don't even know who's better here.
rook
Yeah.
f1.
Or rook b1. They both look pretty good.
So you guys both think black is fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have gone for the a pawn, not the d pawn.
But it's gonna be a similar thing. Black's gonna get to the 7th rank.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I sort of imagine
I was
happening,
curious.
Kostya, is something like rook a7, you know, rook f1, rook a6, rook f2, b pawn move somewhere, b3 or b4.
Yeah, if you wanted to be friskier as white, you could try king c3, but no one knows who's winning. No one knows who's gonna win this one.
Yeah, this I don't think I'm worried here as black.
Right.
Um,
So I think
Okay.
that's fine for you.
Okay, I was thinking here, let's say rook f1, king e3,
Rook b1.
Or
rook
check,
b1,
or you could check too. There's nothing.
check as well. Right, let's say here. Say b4, no, sorry, b3, rook b2,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
take,
Mhm.
take,
Mm-hmm.
let's
Well,
say,
black might be better now. What are we doing? Well, why is black
rook
worse?
a3?
Wait, before we do this, why is black worse?
There's no reason black's worse.
No.
I feel like white's king is more active.
Yeah.
My
That's
king
true.
is closer to the blockade square, and I got this little loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
Rook b2 is an easy move to make.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, let's say I go here.
Okay, I don't know. Either king f5 or king f7.
Okay, no, this makes sense. Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I mean,
No,
it's
that's
like-
fair. Okay, let's check out this game, this mastery game here. By the way, as I was pointing out while you guys were playing, this game is in the 100 selected games, and I think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that book is in the program, but it's only as like a suggested book because we fought over all the different books that we were having and stuff.
Yeah, but this game's in a lot of books, so this one.
Fair enough, but the Botvinnik one's the best one though because that's his own notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so excellent play, and it makes it look easy, but now we know how hard it was. G5, 91. H5, H4, exclam. There's a lot of variations in the Botvinnik book. We're waiting for that bad boy. Now we come back, genius level. Now we're coming in, baby. Look at this move. Oh! Oh, no! Thank you very much. Oh, the pain is real. Hi, Chihuahua.
You see that knight on D7? It wasn't really better than B8.
We're harvesting. There it is, my friends. Genius level. So yeah, great game. And also, like, I think the part with the knight dance is easy to remember and be impressed by. But the first two moves, which we saw David and Kostya didn't get, I was like, yeah, that was one of the great things about looking at this Endgame Sensei. You can get a feel for the difference in quality. And like I said, you guys, I make fun of you guys a lot, but I could easily see myself doing the same two moves that you guys did at the beginning.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even in a game that we both sort of knew the contour of.
Right. All right, you guys, we're going to leave it there. We'll be back soon. We're going to hope to do this Endgame Sensei more. And we'll put this on our YouTube page, but it'll also be buried in the archives of the positions. We've done several of the Endgame Sensei positions that are part of the dojo training program. So if you're ever doing one of those endgame positions and you want to see how two chumps will play the position in contrast to some super GMs, well, you got it right here. All right, you guys, it's been a pleasure. We'll end it there.